Kirtan for me. When I first met my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he asked me if I knew the difference between Kirtan and Sangeet. And I said no. And he said, Sangeet is technical ability. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. He said, Kirtan is transcendental sound vibration descending from Goloka Vrindavan into your heart. And he said, after you receive Harinam, then your Kirtan will become potent. So what is Kirtan for me? It is something that I aspire for. It is something that one day, hopefully, will manifest in my heart by the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Kirtan is descending from Goloka Vrindavan. It means it's not different from the name of Krishna. It is not different from Krishna himself. So really, Kirtan is spiritual, it is pure, and it is transcendental. And it is something that I aspire for.
For me, Kirtan is my connection to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. It is the most essential part of our being and the most essential part of our process to attain the Lord. So Kirtan is my sadhan and it is my goal. Well, the benefits of being part of Kirtan and doing Kirtan are pretty much the same. We are told by our gurus and Vaishnavacharyas and even the Vedic scriptures, they tell that when we are doing Kirtan, we're actually doing anti-pollution. Our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he explained that there is pollution all around us continuously in the form of sound vibration, in the form of all kinds of microwaves, radio waves, cell waves, whatever it might be. There are so many kinds of pollution. What to speak of those gross things that we're doing to the earth. And so he explained that when we sit even in one place and all together very loudly do Kirtan, that sound vibration purifies the atmosphere. Not only the atmosphere, it purifies us, and it purifies all those living entities that can move and not move, like trees, like grass. Everything becomes purified by that, including ourselves. And the special effect of Kirtan, especially the Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtan, is that not only does it go throughout this world and purify, it goes out of this universe. And if we are really truly sincere and calling out, then that Kirtan can reach the ears of the Lord. So Kirtan is the most beneficial thing for ourselves and the environment. Even sitting in one place, we're doing welfare work.
For me, what is the benefit of doing Kirtan for myself and for others? First, I would like to speak in terms of for others. I asked my Gurudev once, what benefit will others receive by hearing my chanting of the holy names, because it is not pure, my heart is not fully cleaned. So what benefit will others receive? And he said, some Shakti will be there because you are under guidance. Under guidance means you're connected with someone who is connected to Krishna. So when you're following that instruction, then they infuse potency there. So some potency will be there because we're under guidance. Like so many devotees, they just join Krishna consciousness, and it's not that they're pure devotees immediately, but because Sri Guru, because Srila Prabhupada, or whoever their pure devotee guru is, has instructed them to go out and tell everyone they meet about Krishna. Because of that instruction and because of that connection, there's so much power and potency in that. So Kirtan will benefit others if there is connection to that pure devotee who is connected to Krishna. And for myself, I once asked my Gurudev that my heart is so impure, so if I'm chanting the holy names, there's some consideration for maybe chanting impurely, somehow it won't work properly in my heart. Why don't I just chant the names of Nityananda and Gauranga? Because there's no fault in that. And it also is capable of giving prem. So why don't I just chant the names of Mahaprabhu? And my Gurudev replied, I asked him, why are we chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? He said, because Mahaprabhu wants you to. And so from that perspective, yes, we're calling out for their mercy, begging for their mercy. And they're telling us, you should always chant the name of Krishna. So for myself, I am under guidance, following the instruction of my Guru and doing what is pleasing, what is favorable to Mahaprabhu. What he is ordering us to do, then if we do that, we will receive benefit.
So how did Kirtan change our lives? I think it's hard to exactly say, because since we were born, Kirtan has been part of our lives. It's an intrinsic part of our lives. But I can say that when I met my Gurudev, it became a very serious part of my sadhana, my practice. It didn't just remain as some kind of happy thing that we do all together and we enjoy it, but actually it became a way for me to really connect to the goal of my life, and that is to love God, to love Krishna. So when my Gurudev told us that we should go out and we should inspire on his behalf, I was really afraid and I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to speak. I was frightened. And he said, if you do not continue and travel and inspire on my behalf, you will lose your kirtan. But if you continue and you inspire on my behalf, your kirtan will do everything. And then it really came clear to me that kirtan isn't something that we do of our own power. It's grace. And to call out and to do kirtan every day and to feel that grace moving in your life is very powerful. And it brings so much faith and so much hope into one's life.
How has Kirtan changed my life? I would say that for most of my life I was not engaged in Kirtan. I would sit in the Kirtan with many devotees or even my friends, and we would do it as a source of enjoyment. We would get together to see how expertly everyone could play instruments. The girls would be watching the guys, and the guys would be watching the girls, and everyone would be kind of showing off their abilities, how beautiful and how sweet it was, and how much we could enjoy it. And when I came to my Gurudev, Kirtan was no longer about our enjoyment. Kirtan was about giving enjoyment to Krishna. Chanting Krishna's names was for his pleasure, not for our pleasure. The automatic side effect of Kirtan, of chanting the names of Krishna, was that we would experience happiness and pleasure, but that was not the purpose, that was not the goal, and that was not the intention any longer. So really, I feel that Kirtan changed my life when I began to appreciate the Kirtan of the pure devotees, like Srila Prabhupada, like my Gurudev, over the Kirtan of ordinary persons who may have been singing for name, for fame, for money, for attracting women or men or whatever. When I began to appreciate their Kirtan as the real substantial thing, that's when my life began to change by Kirtan. And my Gurudev explained, he said there's different kinds of taste. Ruchi means taste. Some will have taste in the beautiful, sweet Kirtan with all of the instruments being played perfectly, beautiful harmonium, beautiful mridanga, the kartals all working in time, and expert singers. But if any pure devotee is sitting off in the corner by themselves, weeping with a choked voice and singing without proper tune and without proper timing, then no one will have attraction to that Kirtan. He said, but that person there is singing with a broken heart and love for Krishna. They are doing real Kirtan. And it may be that everyone over here is singing for Kanaka Kamani and Pratishta, name and fame and position and everything else. He said they may be very fallen. So how has it changed my life? Kirtan has changed my life in terms of my appreciation for what is real Kirtan versus what is not real Kirtan. the nature of every soul is that they are an eternal servant of Krishna. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj explained that chanting the names of Krishna, especially Mahamantra, is the sound of the soul crying out for its eternal beloved, Krishna. That is really Kirtan. So if anyone hears the Mahamantra, we don't know how much endeavor they have made on the path of bhakti in their previous lifetimes. There's no way of knowing just by looking at a crowd. For example, Srila Prabhupada was in the park, and there he was chanting, with his eyes closed, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda and Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When he opened his eyes, some were dancing around him. Some were standing off in a distance, just appreciating. Others were watching from a very far distance, and maybe others were walking away. They didn't like it. According to their samskars, their spiritual impressions and sukritis from previous lifetimes, their spiritual merits, some were extremely attracted, and others maybe did not realize that something was touching them. So Kirtan has this effect. If one is a pure devotee, or if there's Sankirtan in the presence of a pure devotee, or if one is doing Kirtan under the guidance of any pure devotee, or even someone is chanting Hare Krishna, it might be just anyone in the street, someone hears that sound, something inside their heart can awaken. What is that? I recognize that. And we see that nowadays in so many different kirtan circles. Maybe so many different mantras are being chanted for so many different devas, for Shiva and Ganesh and Durga and so many other persons. And then Hare Krishna Mahamantra comes. And some people, their hearts spontaneously become attracted and they begin searching for it. What is that? What is that? I know it. They know it inside and they become attracted and they want to find out the source. So Kirtan can and will affect everyone according to their respective progressions on the path of bhakti, according to their own subjective evolutions of consciousness. As they have already progressed, Kirtan will touch them, and then they will start again from that point and begin running on that path, searching for Krishna.
I think it's wonderful and it's beautiful to see ladies doing kirtan. I think, you know, when you see like Rasika and she's playing mridanga and singing, and it's beautiful and it's inspiring. I don't really like to put sort of there's a male and female singer on it, but I have to say that I do find that in general, women seem to have a little bit more of a pathetic mood of the heart where they can call out in a different kind of way. Sometimes it's not as technical, sometimes it's more, but I get this beautiful feeling when I hear like Janavi Harrison, when I hear her singing, immediately my heart just feels soft and I feel melted. Or her sister Tulsi, such power and such force, but so beautiful. It adds a really beautiful element to the kirtan when you have a lady sitting down, closing her eyes and singing. But I think in general, if anyone is calling out with the mood of calling out to Krishna, whether they're male or female, I don't have a lot of distinction in that. I feel that to do that kind of takes away from what kirtan is, and that is the jivas trying to connect and call out to their Lord. I don't think there should be a separation, that women shouldn't be playing the mridanga or that they shouldn't be leading kirtan. At the time of our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he had Jamuna Devi. She was leading kirtan. She was giving lectures. Govinda Dasi also was doing so much, leading the Sankirtan movement. And our Guru Maharaj also, he used to have so many ladies get up and speak, like Srimati Jadharani Shamarani Didi. And he would always call on us to sing. So he didn't actually make us feel that we weren't part of the Kirtan or part of that beautiful movement of Mahaprabhu. There sometimes is a little bit of a distinction, and that's okay. But the essence is really that it's the jiva, and it's not about male or female.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually brings this point home with this verse, Naham Vipro Nacha Narapati, I am not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. What is my identity? I'm only the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, who is the beloved of the gopis. And so he actually taught this to his followers. And those who are coming in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, there should be no distinction between who is qualified and who is not qualified to call out to Krishna from their heart. If there is this distinction, then it means that we're still enforcing the bodily concept of life. Now, also Mahaprabhu warns that there shouldn't be unrestricted mixing, because still we are bound in the bodily concept of life, and if there is unrestricted mixing, then it will create lust within the heart. So, taking that aside though, what is the qualification for a person in a male body or a female body to do kirtan? There's no difference, because the soul inside is an eternal servant of Krishna. How many times have we been bouncing back and forth between male and female forms, and also animal forms and insect and tree forms? But the soul inside is the same. So just because I have a male body this time, I may have had a female body last time, and I might have a female body next time. So to discriminate like that from either way, the feminist movement coming to try to assert that no, we should be in charge and we should have the right to do this and that, or the males trying to oppress the women, all of this is actually not part of bhakti. Bhakti means devotion of the heart. And we see even in our Guru Parampara, some of the most prominent gurus who were gurus of the entire Vaishnava community were in female forms, like Janava Thakurani, Ganga Mata Goswamini, Hemlata Thakurani. There's so many very powerful personalities in female form, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the female should be in charge or the male should be in charge. Really, if someone is inspired to do kirtan, especially now, our Gurudevs, like Srila Prabhupada and our Gurudev, they really encouraged the ladies. I remember when I was young, the ladies would stand on one side, the men on the other side, Prabhupada was in the middle. And the ladies also had access. Over time, they changed it and the ladies were pushed to the back. But back then, the ladies were giving Bhagavatam class, like she said. They were up in front doing the preaching. Prabhupada brought the devotees to India, and in front of crowds of thousands of people, he had his lady disciples leading kirtan and giving lectures on Krishna consciousness. So to differentiate like that, even this male-female thing, generally that's something which is done by the lower ego consciousness of the individuals. But the pure devotee sees that everyone is a servant of Krishna, and they try to engage everyone in Krishna's service.
Can I just say one more thing on this? And that is that I do find, having said all of that, I do find that it's really inspiring for ladies and for young girls to see a female in the position of giving lectures or doing kirtan. They feel that they can come closer. Usually it's a brahmachari or a sannyasi who's giving the lecture, and the women stay somewhat farther back. They feel a little shy. And when a female is being given the opportunity to do that, I find that the females, they want to come up and hug you, they want to be close to you, they feel inspired. Yes, I can also do kirtan, I can also do this. So in that way, I think that it's a really important thing to show that really there isn't a distinction, and that it should be inspiring for others that yes, we can also do kirtan, we can also preach.
It's one of the reasons our Gurudev sent us out as a married couple, to do kirtan and to preach. He said, everywhere we go, we are sannyasis and brahmacharis going to the homes of grihastas. And because of this, he said, there's some distance and a disconnect. There's some awe and reverence that is there. And he said, how much more inspirational will it be if a married couple is going to the homes of grihastas? Because then there's no distance. Then people feel, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. So he said, so I want this new thing.
If I could just add one more thing, and that is to the ladies singing. I remember my Guru Maharaj, he always wanted us, whenever there was any festival or we did Navadvip Parikrama, there were thousands, like 20,000 devotees there, and he would want the ladies to have their own kirtan party. And we would have our kirtan party, and we'd be going down the streets of Navadvip, and the kirtans sometimes would become so ecstatic. I would find that there would be brahmacharis and sannyasis looking like they wanted to be part of our kirtan. And I remember one time we went back and it was evening time and our Gurudev was about to speak and he said, oh, I have heard from so many that the ladies' party was so wonderful. And he said, oh, my brahmacharis have to work a little harder. And we were so excited, and it made us have this kind of competition, not in front of each other, but just going out and doing kirtan boldly and loudly. And then when we would do kirtan in New Braj, California, he would always have a ladies' party, and he would be standing out there waiting for the ladies' party and encouraging us to do kirtan very loudly. And I always appreciated that and loved that, because the girls would be playing the mridanga, they would be just rocking the kirtan. And some of the sannyasis later said, you know, I wished that we had a different body, that we could have joined those kirtans. So it didn't matter really that, oh, you know, we're ladies and our kirtan didn't rock. No, we rocked it.
So many favorite bhajans. They're all my favorite bhajans. But the one that keeps popping in my head is Sri Radha Krishna Padakamale Mana, written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And the reason for that is, in each line, almost every line, he's talking about the faults that he has. I have so much lust. I'm so unqualified. So Radha and Krishna, please be merciful to me and engage me in your loving service. So he's showing, I'm here now, but I'm still praying for that highest goal, that highest destination. I'm so unqualified. I have no good intelligence. So please give me my spiritual form. He's not just leaving it in a place of desperation, but he always ends with a prayer of hope. He's always calling out. So it doesn't allow the ego to cycle in, to wallow in its own misery. It always has a prayer calling out for that highest thing. Despite my disqualification, you have the power to make the impossible possible. So please give me my highest destination. So that one stands out for me. And in terms of my Kirtan inspirations, of course I already spoke about the difference between real Kirtan and not real Kirtan. I don't know who is really doing Kirtan and who is not, but I have faith that Srila Prabhupada is doing real Kirtan. And I have faith that my Gurudev is doing real Kirtan. Of course, from our birth, we always heard Srila Prabhupada doing Kirtan. Our parents would play him almost all day and all night. And we grew up with him as our ideal of Kirtan. And to this day, when we want to feel some spiritual inspiration in our heart, and also some gravity, something, to really ground us and make us feel like, yes, I want to be serious and I want to move forward on the path of bhakti, we play Srila Prabhupada. And he really sets that mood in our heart that, yes, this is something real, this is something pure, and I want to move in the direction of his kirtan. And also with my Gurudev, as he spoke about kirtan, and as he did kirtan, it wasn't something light. You know, there's light kirtan. Light means it's floating here and it's for fun. But they didn't do kirtan for fun. They did kirtan. When you listen to Prabhupada, how heavy, how substantial is his kirtan. And you can hear him. His voice is choking up and sometimes he's crying. It's not ordinary kirtan. It's kirtan of the heart crying out to Krishna. So when you hear the kirtan of pure devotees like these, then this is very inspirational. Other kinds of kirtan can be something for fun or something nice. But if someone is actually chanting and crying and praying, maybe even any of us, but they're really making an endeavor and calling out for mercy, then that is also inspirational for me.
My favorite kirtan or bhajan is Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. For me, it's a foundation to call out to Guru and beg for a drop of mercy. But more than that, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is asking for the qualification to chant Harinam. Please make me humble, make me deen and heen. I want to be able to chant the holy name, so I'm weeping for this. But a special line in there, it really affects me, and it's when he says, Koramore Atma Sata. Take my Atma and make it like yours. Take me and make me your own. That mood is the qualification to run on the path of bhakti. And before I can chant Harinam, before I can chant any other kinds of kirtan, this kirtan for me solidifies the mood in my heart, and it in some way invokes my Gurudev to be present, and that my Gurudev is there, and now I'm ready to chant the holy name of Krishna. So hands down, always, if somebody asks me, do you want to sing a particular bhajan, you'll always find me saying, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. This is my heart, and really for me, that is the invocation for my Gurudev to be present. As far as my inspiration goes, what Kishori Mohan Prabhu said about Srila Prabhupada and my Gurudev, definitely. But there's also another personality that comes to mind when I think about the way I wish to do kirtan. And it's Srila Bhakti Balav Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. If you've ever seen a video of him, and that's all I've seen, I've never met him, I never had the opportunity to be in his kirtan, but I've seen on YouTube him doing kirtan, and his everything is crying out to the Lord. His head is up, his mouth is open, he's trembling, and he's just singing from the core of his heart. And when I see that, I really feel within the core of my heart, I want to do kirtan like that. And then I have other inspirations in kirtan that I like to hear anyone that has a mood of pathos in their heart, that it sounds like they're crying out, and it makes me feel that way. I remember when I was younger, I would go to the Govinda's gift shop where we lived, and I would always ask them, do you have any kirtans or bhajans that will make me feel like crying? And I didn't know why I wanted that. Later, when I met my Guru Maharaj, I realized that's the mood, to call out in separation. That attracts the Lord to us. But anyone who calls out like that, I'm so attracted to hearing that kirtan, because it makes me also want to cry out like that.
One more inspiration of mine, and I think it's also a very important, powerful inspiration of Sudevi's, is Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj.
Ah, yes.
When he would do kirtan, it would spring out spontaneously, and he would be, I want to use the word, screaming out from the top of his lungs. You could hear him calling out, roaring the name of Nityananda Prabhu, crying out Hare Krishna. When he would do kirtan, he was so infectious. His devotees would be around him, and they said that he would be bouncing off of his seat, literally like bouncing in the air, and he was crying out from his heart. And just to hear that kirtan, it shakes us from our sluggishness in the material world.
And in the middle of his kirtan, he's singing to Nityananda Prabhu, and all of a sudden, in the middle of it, he goes, Haribol! And everyone just goes, Haribol! It's so beautiful. You have to hear his Nityananda Trayodasi bhajans. Okay.
Jai. We would like to invite all of you to join the Kirtan circuit. The Kirtan circuit is led by many very enthusiastic young devotees. Every month they do their Kirtan programs in a different location.
For 6 hours.
6 hours at a time they do Kirtan. And it's very beautiful. They're all expert musicians, but they're all really sincere to dive deep into the path of bhakti.
And the beautiful thing also is that they invite everyone from any genre. It means everyone is welcome to come and join in sweet kirtan. I advise everyone to come.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that this is the greatest welfare work. And because it is non-sectarian, really it is the greatest welfare work. It is the international society for Krishna consciousness.
Come one, come all, and join the kirtan circuit.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.